Are you a fan of epic adventures where you take on the role of a warrior with incredible skills? Well, in today's game, which by the way came out of nowhere and as quite a surprise to the gaming community, may be one that you want to keep your eyes on going forwards. If you're a fan of this style of game, then you have been pretty lucky with games like Wo Long, Sekiro, and Ghost of Tsushima all hitting the mark, and delivering some awesome experiences that we won't forget. But on the horizon, we still have some long-awaited games like Wukong, Rise of the Ronin, Where Winds Meet, and more. So where does this new game, Phantom Blade Zero, fit into this upcoming roster of highly anticipated games, and what exactly is it? Well, that's why in today's video we're going to compile all of the information out there so you can start to form your opinion on the game now. Hopefully by the end of this video, you'll know what it is and what's up, and we would love to know which out of these upcoming games are you looking forward to most. But going back to Phantom Blade Zero, the first thing you're going to want to know is the platforms the game will be releasing on, and if there's a release date yet. After the PlayStation Showcase trailer, you may be left thinking that the game is solely a PlayStation exclusive for the PlayStation 5, but it's actually being released for PC on Steam and on the Epic Games Store. Unfortunately, there isn't a release date for the game just yet, as the development team is still deep in making it, but if you subscribe, you'll see our latest videos and we will be sure to update you when that information drops. And as you may know from looking at it, Phantom Blade Zero is an action RPG, and the game's being developed by a relatively unknown Chinese game studio called S Games, which in the past have primarily released mobile games in China. But in an interview, the founder explained that this is the true vision of the game that he always wanted to make when starting out their studio. He talks more about it in a PlayStation blog, saying, quote, "This journey began with Rainblood Town of Death, an indie game I made back in 2010. The development process was a creative outlet for me as an architect student, first in Beijing and later in New Haven. When I returned to China, I founded my own development studio, S Game, and Rainblood grew into a franchise that would later become Phantom Blade. Most of these titles were for smartphones and never released outside of China, but we still managed to build a fan base of over 20 million players. Now, allow me to introduce Phantom Blade Zero, the spiritual rebirth of the original Rainblood and the game that we always wanted to make," end quote. If any of you do know Game Maker, it's like the most basic game engine that a novice game designer or developer will usually start out on to learn some of the core concepts of game development. So it's super interesting to see how this whole journey started with that, and now this. The story of the game itself follows a swordsman that has the limited time of 66 days to live and needs to get his heart back. You'll be taking on both humans and monsters in this adventure and will need to use your skills as a swordsman to overcome them. But here's the official description of the story. They say, quote, "In Phantom Blade Zero you play as Soul, an elite assassin serving an elusive but powerful organization known simply as the Order. Soul is framed for the murder of the Order's patriarch, gravely injured in the ensuing manhunt, and though his life is saved by a mystic healer, the makeshift cure will only last 66 days. Now he must fight back against powerful foes and inhumane monstrosities, all while seeking out the mastermind behind it all before his time runs out," end quote. It definitely will be interesting to see if or how the mechanic of time will factor into the gameplay. One of the things that left viewers amazed by this trailer was the combat itself and how some of the action looked super fluid. For me, the most impressive part of the trailer was a simple dodge, as it just looked so clean and interwoven into his attacks. But one of the reasons behind this is because the action director of the game is Kenji Tanigaki, and he's worked on a lot of martial arts films, especially with Donnie Yen. The developers have said that the structure of the game will be a semi-open world with lots of large maps filled with activities. Defeating enemies will also reward you with weapons, armor, artifact skills, and other ways to customize or progress your character. We think the game looks pretty cool from what we've seen so far. The mix of unique combat animations and the setting itself is definitely something we're excited to try out. But we will say to be very mindful, as there isn't a proven track record from the studio, especially in the West, and of course there's a lot of games coming out that are somewhat similar to this that also look incredible as action RPG games. But until we can actually get our hands on it, we can't say how this will be for sure. It's always best to reserve your expectations until you can see more gameplay or people actually playing it. So with a lot of games on the horizon in this sort of genre coming soon, we are spoiled for choice, but some of them have been in development for absolutely ages. Shout out to Black Myth Wukong. So hopefully some of these games will come out and we can try them to know if they're actually any good. With that being said though, now you hopefully know a lot more about the game, so enjoy this awesome trailer.
Just run away? It won't make any difference at the end of the day. You know better than anyone else that no one could escape.
Everyone wears a mask! You too!
This is a real face!
He let you live? What secret did you sell him?
Only a dead person can keep a secret. Going where? This damned place! You're suicidal!
One last toast. And we're all done. Patience is the key, Master. Time is not on his side. All we have to do is wait.
Yes. Let's kill him with time.
What's your plan? Knowing you have only 66 days to live.
Get my heart back.